we just use this coming in from outside. One thing to note is you do not need to make sure this thing shuts. Like if you have a classroom set and you're taking a light bulb outside to test it, it doesn't have to shut in the moment. But when you deconstruct it and everything's getting ready to pack up to send back to SSC, then it needs to fit. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take out my light bulb, and hopefully there's still a cardboard box for that said light bulb. So that way that doesn't roll around and accidentally break. So that part is going to be set off to the side, and then taking out my light receptacle, and eventually, one way or another, you got to figure out how to roll this thing back up if you choose to unwind it. So then they have a blue cord, should keep everything nice and neat, where you can bind it in the middle and then use that Velcro for its nature-loving purposes that it was mimicked after to clamp her down. Set that off to the side. I still have my solar panel attached, so I'm gonna lift up the alligator clips, and I'm actually gonna take off the Wagyu clips. Sorry, I call them alligator clips. I'm gonna take them all the way off because I eventually need to anyway. If they are left on, it's not the end of the world. You're just stealing that experience from one student. So there's the clips off, and then the solar panel, the cord sometimes kind of fits wrapped up inside the inside, and then they come in a cardboard box with some dividers that you can put them into. Set that off to the side. To take off the home run cable, you lift up on the silver latch, and then you you twist counterclockwise and you pull it out. You should hear a click, and then once again we are going to wrap this up nice and neat, and there should be a cord Velcro piece to keep everything together. So then here's the Velcro. Set that off to the side. So I had secured my motherboard with this plastic bolt, and I'm just going to unscrew that enough to where I can pull the motherboard out. I'm going to lightly lift by the battery till I can get my hand underneath. I'm not going to fully lift by the battery. Then I'm going to take it out. Hopefully you still have 3 baggies, one for all the wires, one for the screws, nuts, and washers, and then one for all the components like a switch. And just gonna slowly start taking this off piece by piece. The first thing that'd be the easiest is taking the battery away so it's not in the way. So I took that off, and I'm gonna put that with all my wires. I'm gonna put the tape to cover up the terminals again, so that way no rust can occur, so that way the battery stays as good as long as possible. And I'm gonna lightly lift this battery out, set that off to the side. I'm gonna go and take the screwdriver, and I'm going to slightly loosen up the charge controller so all these wires can pop out, and I'm gonna take them all out one at a time, and I'm going to turn back all those screws in the charge controller so that way they aren't just sitting there loose and rattling around. So once that's done, I'm going to flip this over to the bottom side, and I'm going to very, very gently, I'm going to take off each of these wires. So I'm trying not to break any of the metal teeth. A slight wiggle is okay, but when you wiggle too much, that is when some of the metal teeth do break off. If that happens, please let SSC know as soon as possible, because that's a part that's needed to make this happen for another school. So remember again, that solar receptacle is the one that breaks the easiest. So be very careful pulling those ones out. So I got most of these wires loose. I can kind of start to pull them apart. I had taken the load positive, load negative out, so I'm going to take these Wagyu out separately. Make sure that all the fingers are closed. The Wagyu clips are stored with all the wires. So I'm going to take these ones out. I'm going to pull out all the wires from the charge controller area. And the only thing that should be left for wires is the battery port. And those ones stay in. So my light switch had fallen out, which is fine. The other light switch, you just kind of gently push out, and that's how you take that out. The breaker, you're going to push in these black parts, so that way it's able to fit back out. And then for the light receptacles, you're going to unspin this part. So the only thing I have left at this moment is everything that's bolted down, the bushings, and the black part that's connected to the battery, which is going to stay. That's just to prevent the battery from rubbing too much. But before I get too far, I'm going to put all my loose pieces away. One thing that typically happens with kids that have everything just kind of sitting out on the table is they do end up losing pieces. So the more you can reduce clutter in the moment, the easier it is when you're trying to find something. So the bushings stay, this stays, and this stay. Otherwise, I'm going to slowly start taking apart some of these nuts and screws for holding everything together. As I take each one out, I'm going to put it right in the baggie right away, so that way there's no chance of it falling out and just taking more time to find. So once the charge controller, that's the first one I happen to take apart, I'm going to set that off to the side. And the only thing I got left is the solar receptacle part. Just got to take the screws off. So once all those are out, this piece comes out, goes with all the rest of the switches. Button all these up. All the things that are going to go in the bottom of the Solar Suitcase are going to be everything with a bag. The charge controller, the light bulb, and one thing you'll notice is I've left room. Oh, I forgot to put these in there. One thing you're going to leave room for is when you put this faceplate down, you're going to leave room where the battery goes, so that way the battery fits in there after you put the faceplate in. For example, so like this, and the battery can just loosely kind of set in there. Then you'll grab your other cords, and hopefully if you wrapped them up nice and tight, they fit in here. And it should be of no issue to close it. It's not going to be like your traditional camping bag that does not fit back in its container. And there you go.